Hey everybody. Um, let's talk about what defines our perception of our own level of intelligence today. So think of it from this way. Whatever age you are right now, you think you pretty much got it. You think you kind of got most of it figured out. You look at the people, your parents, people that are older than you, they look at you like you're not that bright. And what do? We defend ourselves by saying, hey, you know what, they lived in a different time, society was different, the world was different back then. Is it right or is it wrong? It's both, actually. There's a right and there's a wrong side to it that nobody really ever looks at. So we're gonna do my perspective on it. Let's start by looking at the average person right now who realistically watches YouTube on a constant basis. That is their form of entertainment. It's roughly the age of about a 25 to 30-year-old person, 20 to 30-year-old person, pretty much a youthful age overall. There are other social media systems like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, stuff like that right now that you see a younger crowd kind of gravitate towards as well. They exist. YouTube is very, very popular, mainly because it's such a open forum for whatever content people want to produce. Just think of my content. It wasn't designed for everybody. More than likely, nobody's going to ever watch any of these. But if you happen to come across them, cool. If this becomes a very popular channel, that's going to be really, really cool. There's monetization that occurs because these channels become popular. More likely, I don't do anything worthwhile that people can do that are more vibrant, that are more entertaining. This wasn't designed, once again, like I've mentioned before, this wasn't designed for everybody. All it is just pretty much me talking. This could have been done on a podcast instead of wasting so much effort to make a video about it. That being said, let's look at somebody who, let's just use an age, 25 years old. So when you're 25 years old, you're an adult. You have a level of intelligence, you've had a certain amount of education, a certain amount of experience. Is it everything you're gonna see in your life? No. You're probably at the age of 25 thinking, hey, there's so much more out there that I wanna see, that I wanna experience. That's a very, very good thing, because experience and knowledge does change your perspective. It changes the way you see the world around you. Is that a great thing? Absolutely. Now let's look at it from the other perspective that I see as. When you are 5 years old, when you look back, if you're a 25-year-old and you look back at when you were 5-year-old, you're like, oh, of course, I was a 5-year-old. It's like they don't know any better. They don't see any better. They don't know. They don't have a job. They don't understand school or education or history or whatever it is that you get through school. Bottom line is, compared to a 25 years old person, they're stupid. Okay, so let's fast forward from the 5-year-old to the 15-year-old. A 15-year-old, that was 10 years ago if you're 25 years old. I was 25 years old one time as well too. I'm not 25 years old, but when I was 25 years old, I looked back at when I was 15-year-old. Man, I wasn't that bright. I didn't understand as much as I did when I was 25 years old. I didn't have the experiences, the knowledge base that I had when I was 25 years old when I was 15. So the reality of it is, when I was 15, I look back at when I was 15 years old, man, not the smartest person in the world. But let's look back again when you were 15 years old. Yeah, you know you were smarter than you were 5 years old, but when you were 5 years old, you're like, Mommy, I got it. I know what I'm doing. I got this. When you're 15 years old, you're kind of like, yeah, I got a lot of things figured out too, Mom and Dad. I can handle it. I'm becoming an adult. I got most of these things figured out. I know your world was a little bit different or so when you were growing up, and the truth is, it was. And then when you're 25 years old, you look back at when you're 15 years old, you're like, man, yeah, I kind of got things figured out, but not completely, not the best or so as I do now. I understand so much more than I do when I was 15 years old, and compared to when somebody was 5 years old, you understand so much more. Now let's fast forward. So when you're 25 years old, you kind of got things, most of it figured out. Let's look at when you're 35 years old, 10 years from now. Imagine all the things that you will understand and know. And you're going to, 10 years from now, you're going to look back at this 25-year-old person. It's like, man, I didn't really have everything all figured out. Now I'm 35. I've gotten more experience. I've seen more of the world. I've been adult longer. I've had a job longer. I've had a change of perspective longer. When you're 25 years old, you're healthy, you're vibrant, you're in your prime of your youth most of the time. And now you're 35 years old, you realize, hey, I can sort of do the things that I was when I was 25 years old. And technically there are certain things now when you're 35 years old, 10 years from now, you're going to do so much better. And you don't realize that, hey, I can do things better. And it's not that you're really doing things better. It's because you're doing things differently. You're being more efficient, probably. You're understanding better of the world, or you're understanding how the world works around you better. Similarly, I look back at when I was 25 years old. Man, I will say this, I was pretty dumb. And that is me, myself. I knew when I was 25 years old, I just started my career. I just finished college. I thought, hey, I'm going to finish school. It's all going to be cool. I'm going to take on responsibility. And come to find out, when 10 years after that or so, I was like, man, I really didn't want to become an adult and be responsible. Had to pay for all this stuff. I know a lot of people, there are circumstances financially where they do stay at home with their parents and they're not completely independent and they're working towards it. We'll talk about procrastination and all that and motivations or so on another one, but this is talking about perspective of time, experience, and age. So you think about all these moments in your life and you look back at 10 years ago. Well, here's the thing is, when I was 35 and I looked back at when I was 25, yeah, not that brightest. And then when I compare myself at 35 versus when I was 15, I don't mean to be rude, but I was pretty much an idiot when I was 15. And when I look back at when I was 5 years old, oh my gosh, does not compare to what I understand about the world nowadays. I'm a lot smarter than I was when I was 5 years old. I know that I am extremely more intelligent and more experienced than I was when I was 15. And comparative to when I was 25 years old, it's kind of like taking a block of limestone and creating a masterpiece. By the time you're 25, a lot of the block or so is gone and you have all these features, all these, you can tell what the statue is going to look like. And then by the time you're 35, you start polishing it a little bit better, building all those little intricacies, making it more of what it's supposed to be. I can only imagine when I was 35 years old, 10 years from then, I can only imagine all the things that would happen. First off, I am going to have more experience. I am going to get older. I am going to supposedly get wiser, and that I'm hoping for as well too. Is that a good thing? That's a great thing. I look forward to that. I also look forward to the fact that understanding when I was 35 years old, my physical capacities were not comparative to when I was 25 years old. My hair is more gray. I stand differently. I cannot run as fast as I used to be when I was 25 years old. I can run still pretty freaking fast, but I also know when I'm 45, that's not going to happen. That my physical health is going to wane. And for all I know, my mental capacity is going to wane. My reaction times are not going to be as good as when I was 35 years old or 25 years old or even when I was 15 years old. And once again, the other side of the coin is, when I'm 45 years old, am I going to be crazy enough to do stuff that when I was 15 years old? My experience says, of course not. Because when you're 15 years old, you have plenty of time to break your bones, get injured or so, and recover from it because you're in good health. As you get older, the reality of it is, yeah, you're going to heal, but you're not going to heal as well. Those scars, those past injuries, they're a cumulative effect on your life. They add on to the injuries, your past add on that injury to your future. And realistically, you start seeing the detriment of your past as you get older. People's hearing, if you listen to loud music when you're younger, as you get older, it gets worse. And once again, if you do things that alter your mind when you're younger, when you get older, your mind doesn't work as well either. So that's the reality of aging. But of course, when you look at that perspective is, when you look at 10 years in the future, you have to realize that it's the same as that person looking 10 years back. So you do have to consider, as of right now, you may think, I may think, hey, I'm pretty smart, I'm pretty good. But the reality of it is, if your brain still works, then 10 years from now, you look back at 10 years prior, not as bright as you think you are. So people always think, hey, I'm so good at what I do, I'm the best at my time, I'm my prime. Brain function wise, no. So long as your brain works, as you get older, your brain only gets better. Your experiences add on, and those experiences make your capacities, your brain capacities, so much better at what it does. That's the reality of looking at certain aspects of your life and your age is, yeah, when I look at when I was 10 years ago, the reality is when I look at even 10 years ago, I was not that smart. And if I look back at 20 years ago, no, not even close to being smart. Versus where I stand at right now. But when you are that person 20 years ago, you kind of think that you got it. And when you look back at 10 years ago, you still thought that you got it. Well, what is the perspective now? You still think you got it. The truth is, 10 years forward, you're going to look at this person today and say, well, no, not actually, I didn't get it. I got it better 10 years from now. But you have to look forward to that. You have to work towards that. You can't just say, that's going to happen, I know what I'm doing right now. No. Those people who say, I know what I'm doing, those are the people that don't look at 10 years from now and realize that that person who looks back 10 years is going to say, no, I really didn't know what I'm doing. It's the same person who says, hey, I know what I'm doing now, I'm smarter, I'm better. Well, when you looked at 10 years back, that person will say, no, I actually know how to do it better now. And they're always going to blame it, oh, I was not that bright, my circumstances. No, it's just called life. It's just called experience. It's called aging. It's what happens is you get supposedly better at something over time. So when somebody looks at themselves, they have to be able to recognize that. That's how you grow, and that's how you get better as you grow, is because you're willing to accept the fact that currently right now, you are still not the smartest person. You still don't have it all right. Even right now, when I look at myself, when I see myself in the mirror, I am not the brightest person in the world, and I accept that. I'm intelligent. I can understand, and I can realize that, hey, there are certain things that I probably need to reevaluate, and even as I do them, I realize that probably 10 years from now, technology is going to change, society is going to change, the world's going to change. But there are certain aspects that don't, and that is our capacity to recognize that experience and knowledge means 10 years from now, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be more experienced, and I'm going to look back and says, man, not as experienced back then, but I'm better. Bottom line is, still I'm not that bright. Right now, I will say that, yeah, I'm not that bright, because 10 years from now, I'm going to be a lot brighter. I'm going to be smarter. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be more efficient. I'm going to be more experienced. And that's the key thing, is to be able to recognize that. If you want to be better at something, you have to say, no, I'm not good at what I am right now. I look at every single day and realize that, hey, I know tomorrow I'm going to be more experienced because I got this experience today. I'm going to reevaluate it, debrief myself a little bit, and maybe tomorrow I'm going to be better. Which means what? I was an idiot the day before, or I was not that intelligent the day before, versus 10 years ago. Yeah, versus today, I'm so much better than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or even when I was 25 years old, started my career. Right now, I have had so much more experience, more than a decade of experience in my career field, which means I'm so much more efficient. People think I'm intelligent at what I do, and I am the go-to. I am almost the expert in my area. Well, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I first started my career, I wasn't that good. So I was the idiot. And of course, when I first started, I thought ideally I was going to be the best, I'm going to be the greatest, I was intelligent, I knew new stuff. But it's not about knowing all the new stuff versus everybody else in the same field. It's about being able to develop what works for yourself, what works for me. Ultimately, it took a little bit of time. I'm going to say this. All this time, all this experience, I might be classified as an expert or as good as an expert in my field, but that doesn't mean that I can't get better. The world changes, technology changes. Just think of the cell phone. It's changed so much over time that it's gotten as good as a computer from 20 years ago. You know, a powerful, powerful, powerful computer from even 10 years ago. My phone has that same capacity as my computer, my desktop computer from 10 years ago. Even my laptop today that I use, it's about a 2.5, 3-year-old laptop. My phone has 75%, I'll say about 70% of the same capacities my laptop can do. The difference is my laptop has a bigger keyboard, a bigger screen, and it can handle all this stuff. But when it comes to the sheer hardware inside of it, it's extremely powerful. Well, that adds on to the same thing over time as you become more efficient, as you become better at what you do, is that things will get better, things will get more powerful. As a person, that's expected, but you never assume, hey, this is the pinnacle. It's kind of like whenever a company releases a new product and they say, hey, this is the best product we've ever made. Well, it's a brand new product you release. It better be, if it's the top end product and you say, this is our top of the line, this is our flagship product, and it's the best thing we've ever made. That's really, really stupid to say, because would you expect their flagship brand new product to be not the best thing? It's supposed to be, because if you say, hey, you know, actually last year's model is better than this, then it's not your flagship. That's just stupid. That's why companies who say this stuff like this is our best thing that we've ever made, they're making people buy things with ridiculous, useless knowledge, which is, hey, of course it's supposed to be the best thing, it's the newest product. It's not supposed to be your newest product, your newest phone or your newest computer, but the technology is 10 years in the past. It just doesn't work the way it's supposed to be the best. Similar to, as you get 10 years from now, you know you're going to be the better version of you. Overall, it should be that way. There are people who regress, so you have those anomalies, the 1 in a million, the 1 in 10 million. But overall, as a society, people age, they become more efficient until their cognitive and their health or their brain function declines. Well, realistically, like I said, at the age of 45, your brain function still will improve. Long time ago, whenever your life expectancy was not that great and health was not as great as it is right now, that's a different story. But don't expect to look at yourself today and say, hey, I'm the best. I'm really, really good, because the reality of this 10 years from now, you look back at your today, you really weren't. That's food for thought for anybody, and that's something to look at, because that's the reality. Thank you.